I beg to move the second and third readings of the following bill for an act shortly entitled the Antigua and Barbuda Labor Code Amendment Bill 2022.
This is Antigua Newsroom.
Mr. Speaker, what is this all about? Mr. Speaker, this bill touches maternity leave for women who are in their last stages of having children to continue our civilization. Read with me, Mr. Speaker, the explanatory memorandum. The purpose of this bill is to amend the Antigua and Barbuda Labor Code to bring it in compliance with its obligations on international law by increasing maternity leave to a minimum of 14 weeks. Mr. Speaker, lots of persons have been complaining. At first, way back, Mr. Speaker, in 1998, when the bill was made back then, sir, it gave maternity leave for a period of 6 weeks. Clearly, that was insufficient. After representation being made by the females and the medical doctors in this particular matter, it was increased to 12 weeks. But, Mr. Speaker, the International Labour Organization and other bodies examined this matter, and having examined millions of ladies, they thought it fitting that further amendments ought to be done. So we look at Section 2 of the memorandum, and what does it say? It says this: Antigua and Barbuda has ratified the Maternity Protection Convention, 2000, number 183. This convention is an international labor organization convention that was established to promote equality of all women in the workforce and the health and safety of the mother and child in order to recognize the diversity in economic and social development of its members. And Mr. Speaker, we're talking about the development of the protection of maternity in national law and practice. Further, it takes into account the circumstances of women workers and the need to provide protection of pregnancy, which are shared responsibly by the government and society. Gone are the days, Mr. Speaker, during slavery. My friend can tell you, Mr. Weston and Mr. Brown and all of those of us who have studied Western history, that the slave ladies, Mr. Speaker, used to cut cane, give birth to children, and within 24, 48 hours had them strapped on their backs, back in the cane fields cutting cane again when the days going by. Then, Mr. Speaker, persons saw the need to give pregnant ladies the opportunity so their body can be properly healed. In the 1990s, it was increased to 6 weeks, later to 12. But then the United Nations, the ILO, and these special bodies got together and said, no, having examined the position, the physical attributes of women, and the traumatic situation that results from childbirth, a period of 14 weeks ought properly to be the period. We, therefore, in Antigua and Barbuda, will do likewise, Mr. Speaker, to increase it from 12 weeks to 14 weeks. So the third paragraph of the memorandum states thus: the specific amendment proposed in this bill is to increase the minimum of maternity leave to 14 weeks. Why? Article 4 of the Maternity Protection Convention 2000, which governs maternity leave, states, a woman to whom this conviction applies shall be entitled to a period of maternity leave of not less than 14 weeks. And that is what we are doing here today, sir. And as you know, except and unless we amend our laws to make it applicable here, we'll still use the same 12 weeks, which, clearly speaking, has been proven to be unsatisfactory. In fact, Mr. Speaker, there are others who are saying that 14 weeks may not be enough. There may be special circumstances which has to be increased. But at least, Mr. Speaker, that is the median figure, the median period recommended. And Mr. Speaker, we think we ought to follow suit. This is a society where we think of humanity, where we're governed by international rules and conventions and laws, and our females who procreate to continue the Benjamins and the Browns and the Josephs and the Yarwoods and so on, ought properly to be made, to give them the opportunity to have their bodies healed and healed properly. So, Mr. Speaker, I ask, therefore, in these circumstances, that this bill be referred to the House for its debate, if any.
Second, that's
Is there any debate? No debate?
Mr. Speaker,
The Honourable Attorney General winds up.
I'm very pleased, Mr. Speaker. It shows, Mr. Speaker, the humanity, the feelings of all persons here today. We have with us one female, the other is a bit late, but we understand life. I attended the funeral yesterday, Mr. Speaker, of my dear friend, Mr. Hudson Knight, who passed away at the age of 92. And his daughter, who was giving the eulogy, indicated quite clearly, my father did his best. He did, I know that. He fathered 19 children. 19 children. And in those days, you know, and I heard Dr. Knight talking, and all the Knight family, the fathers ranged from 12 children to 19 to 21. In those days, Common Western didn't have television and radio and TV. They had flambeau, rich radiator of oil. There was nothing to do but to talk. And talk they did. So, Mr. Speaker, in all seriousness though, this bill really is timely because we must give to the females the requirements to have themselves healed properly, and the children must be made to at least be properly weaned off of breastfeeding, etc., so they can be taken to school to take care of themselves as they grow. So, Mr. Speaker, I ask that this bill be committed to the committee to be considered clause by clause.